Let me start off this video by saying that the Division is one of the nastiest weapons in the game right now. And this is coming from somebody that's not a big sidearm fan. And when it comes to sidearms inside of PvE, especially considering the fact that we have anti-barrier sidearm, well hell fellas, 9 times out of 10, we're picking up rocket-assisted sidearms. The thought of using a primary sidearm inside of PvE feels almost detestable. But I'm here to tell you guys that the Act 2 weapon, the Division, holds its own in so many categories. PvE, PvP, its shiny variants. I've been using this weapon non-stop in things like competitive, and I don't know if it's because it's a heavy burst sidearm, but these 2-round burst sidearms, they just feel right. They feel meaty. So if you're a big fan of weapons like Breach Light, you're gonna be a big fan of this one as well. Now let's get a few basics out of the way about this sidearm. Number 1, it drops primarily from Court of Blades. If you haven't checked out our guide for that, feel free to do so. But the Adept version of this weapon drops directly from Court of Blades, the Expert version. And then of course you can also focus load this thing as well. Now number 2, this is a heavy burst sidearm, meaning when you shoot, it shoots a 2-round burst. Breach Light is arguably the most popular, especially given this season is Strand. And if there has been one sidearm that I've been using that's a primary sidearm, it is Breach Light. Don't get me wrong guys, I like a lot of different sidearms. I know some of you right now are clutching your Michael's Reverence or perhaps your Buzzard with kinetic trimmers. Good weapons, but hot damn it, 2-round burst weapons just hit oh so hard. Which takes us to number 3. This is an arc weapon, which is a big focal point this season. And I don't know if you guys know it or not, this season is looking to be pretty long. I've said it time and time again, get comfy, because we're going to be using these artifact mods for quite some time. And luckily, we have a lot of things synergizing with arc directly. Now, in terms of stats, if we were to break things down and compare it to Breach Light, Liminal Vigil, Empirical Evidence, hell, even Forgiveness, you'll see that it's pretty much middle of the line stat-wise. It does have the second lowest in range. Liminal and Forgiveness are at 58 and 60, so much higher there. But it does have the second highest stability tied with Liminal. Now, it's pretty typical stat-wise to be behind a Trials weapon. Trials weapons in general are really heavy in the stat department. With that being said though, let's talk perks. In our third column, we have Perfect Float, Eddy Current, Hipfire Grip, To the Pain, Pugilist, Grave Robber, and Encore. In our fourth column, we have Voltshot, Kill Clip, Sword of Logic, Swashbuckler, Offhand Strike, Eye of the Storm, and Surrounded. Now again, with all these weapons, you have your base version, which just has the Willing Vessel Origin trait, where dealing damage or defeating targets with a weapon gradually increases stats like your stability, your handling, your reload, and your charge rate. It's a great origin trait. But then you have Runneth Over, and this is actually the origin trait that's present on the shiny variant of this weapon. Reloading your allies overflows the magazine, bows receive faster draw time, and swords receive faster charge rate. Essentially guys, you give yourself a chunky mag with Runneth Over, and there's so many God rolls this season that we have recommended with Runneth Over. Just here recently we reviewed Mira Mago, and the exact same thing came down to that weapon where Runneth Over was just too good to not desire on that weapon. And now if the stars completely align for you, and I mean completely aligned for you, you just may walk away with the 5 out of 5 God roll, with it also being a shiny roll and an adept roll. Now let me just say guys, this is a topic I guess for another video, but these are rare. I think like one of the few shiny variants of adepts that I've gotten for some reason has always been terrible rolls. And I know some of you can say, Cross, that's the point, they're supposed to be rare. Again, a topic for another day, but they are stupid rare. But if you get it, man, flex it. Now first, let's start with the perks in column 3 that stand out to us. We've got Eddy Current, which temporarily increases reload speed and handling after sprinting or while amplified, and the effect is improved when you are amplified. Essentially though, after sprinting for 1.5 seconds, this will give you plus 20 reload, a 0.95 times reload duration multiplier, as well as increased handling and a handling multiplier for as long as you are sprinting or for 3 seconds once you stop sprinting. Now if you're amplified, this removes the sprinting requirement, and the reload speed buff is also increased to plus 60. Now for the enhanced version of this, it actually bumps up that duration to 3.5 seconds and grants us a stronger effect while we are amplified. Now this perk I personally love in PvE, especially if you're running arc, which most of us are this season. You can keep amplified up, you get a ton of benefits for doing so, on top of benefiting for the weapon itself. And this is particularly good on heavy burst sidearms because they really don't have the best reload speeds. Now in terms of what other perks to consider inside of PvE in that third column, there really isn't a whole lot. Pugilist probably would be your only other option, which is not bad. Final blows with the weapon generate melee energy, dealing melee damage, improves this weapon's handling. Pretty good. We're talking 10% melee energy back per kill and 11% with the enhanced version. Personally though, I think Eddy Current is the clear winner in that third column for PvE players. And we're going to talk PvP in just a moment, because things definitely change up there. Now moving over to the fourth column, we've got a lot of things, man, that really jump out to us. Let's start with probably the most obvious one, Voltshot. Reloading this weapon after defeating a target overcharges this weapon for a short period of time, causing it to jolt on its next hit. Essentially, when you finish a reload within 5.3 seconds of a kill, this will grant you Voltshot for 7 seconds, which allows your next weapon hit to apply jolt to the target. Now for the enhanced version, this increases how long you hang on to Voltshot by 1 second. Now we've seen this perk on many weapons. Surprisingly though, it's actually not present on many sidearms. We've got Brigand's Law from Season of the Plunder, we've got Anonymous Autumn from Crucible, Indebted Kindness, but Indebted Kindness is a special weapon. Overall, Voltshot is one of the best perks in the game, guys, especially on an ad clearing weapon. Hit a red bar enemy, proc it instantly, and start spreading jolt to everything else. It also allows you to stun things like overload champions. Now what's even better is the synergy that it has with Eddy Current in the third column. You're rocking an arc-based build, boom. Now you've got Eddy Current, which is increasing your reload speed. You're getting the effects of Amplified, which is aiding your survivability. And then on top of that, you've got Voltshot being applied, which is clearing everything out. Now, if you're looking for more traditional damage options, we do have Sword Logic. This reads that final blows to this weapon grant bonus damage. The strength and duration of the bonus increases when more powerful targets are defeated. So essentially, weapon kills grant you stacks of Sword Logic, but there's different tiers. Minor enemies grant you 1 stack, which is a 15% increase in damage, which lasts for 5.5 seconds. Elites grant 2 stacks for a 25% damage buff, which lasts for 7.5 seconds. And inside of PvP, that's actually a 15% damage buff. Mini bosses and players and their super grant 3 stacks, which is a 35% increase in damage. It's actually doing more inside of PvP at 50%, and this lasts for 10.5 seconds. Then finally, a boss kill will grant 4 stacks, which is a 50% increase in damage, lasting 15.5 seconds. Now, the enhanced version of this perk increases the buff timer by 1 second. I actually really like that Sword Logic has different effects depending on the enemy types that you kill. And although I don't really like seeing nerfs inside of PvP, I do like the fact that there is a buff being added for when you do take a Guardian out of their super, which kind of like pushes you to want to take on someone with their super, right? Considering the duration that it lasts, you can literally just run around 2-tapping everybody. Overall, it's an excellent perk. Outside of that, guys, you have your normal stuffs, Rounded, Swashbuckler, Kill Clip. You're running the mill. Not saying those aren't good perks, but for me, it's Sword Logic and Voltshot that stands out in this final column for PvP. So for my PvE players, if I had to choose a God Roll, it would probably be a mag boosting perk, whether it's a pendant mag or even tac mag. Hell, you could even do alloy magazine, but you don't have to, especially if you're going Eddy Current in combination with either Sword Logic or Voltshots. And again, I'm leaning more toward Voltshots, but I also like Sword Logic as well. And if we ever find ourselves in a situation where we get a proper rework for Mechanier's Trick Sleeves, the Division here is going to cook. Now, a good question that's been brought up about this weapon, is there any conflict between Runneth Over and Voltshot? Again, Runneth Over overflows the base magazine, which is great. However, Voltshot requires a manual reload, meaning you get a kill, you got to manually reload. However, if you're above your base magazine size, you can't reload. You actually have to continue shooting until you get below that max size to then re-proc Voltshots. There is some slight conflict. However, I will say it's not as huge of a deal, considering that Runneth Over at ×1 takes our base mag of 28 to 32. So in my opinion, it's like not that big of a deal. If anything, it could potentially allow you to secure the next kill to then re-proc Voltshots. Granted, it depends on the enemies you're up against, right? Like if you're up against like at-level enemies that literally die from you looking at them, then yes, you will run into some conflict. But as far as like harder enemies, especially things like GMs or Quarter Blades, I actually think Runneth Over is going to be great for you, whether it's with Sword Logic or even Voltshot. That to me though, guys, is the God Roll for PvE. Now this takes us to PvP. Fellas, let me just say, this is one of the most difficult weapons to push inside of PvP. I have gone up against Guardians using this sidearm, and I literally feel like I cannot win 1v1s. They cook, man, and this thing puts out. First up, let me go over a couple rolls that I actually entertain. I got this Hipfire grip offhand strike roll, which was incredibly unusual. But this season's been kind of strange because suddenly everybody is running around hip-firing things. Our review of Boondoggle showcases just how effective that actually is. And then we have offhand strike, where final blows grant additional weapon range, stability, and accuracy when firing from the hip for a short duration. No lie, guys, shooting the Division from the hip, and I know I'm using Radiant Dance Machines, but combining all these things together, I was having a blast. And the range is extremely impressive. Base hip fire, we're looking at 17 meters. With Radiant Dance Machines, though, this kicks it up to 20 meters. meters. Then Radiant Dance Machine plus Offhand can hit up to 25 meters. Keep in mind though, aim assist really does fall off, and you'll notice that when you get over 20 meters of range. The point is, we're talking like SMG territory and like high SMG territory that the division here is able to hang in. Now, I'm not expecting everyone to run out there and hip fire with their divisions. I'm just letting you know, it's a playstyle that works. It feels good, and the time to kill value here is fantastic. We're talking 0.73 seconds and 4 crits, 1 body, even on max resilience guardians, and this actually drops down to 3 crits, 2 body at tier 7 resilience. Now, you don't have to go the route of offhand strike. Maybe you want to go for something that does damage. You've got kill clip. That drops your time to kill down to 0.47 seconds, 3 crits, 1 body. You've got sword logic, which even with its nerf can still reach a 0.47 time to kill value and 4 crits. And if you happen to land that kill on a guardian in their super and get sword logic times 3, you can kill a guardian 0.37 seconds. That shreds, fellas. I know, super situational, but keep in mind, sword logic lasts a very long time, especially sword logic times 3. Now, if you didn't want to get up to hipfire shenanigans, really the only perk there in that third trait column that I would recommend would probably be To the Pain. But let me just say this, guys, I wasn't that crazy about To the Pain on this thing. I like To the Pain on, say, like Palindrome. I engage in a 1v1, we're at a range, To the Pain is proccing pretty much from the first shot, and I'm getting that increase in handling and aim assist that I can take with me until I stow the weapon. It's very nice, guys. But this is a sign-off. You are going to be within 20 meters of enemies. You're not going to be running into TTK values of like 0.8 seconds that are these primary duels at a distance. You also don't have the luxury of taking some damage, proccing To the Pain, and then dipping away to then resurface with max stacks of To the Pain to really start popping some shots off. You have a sidearm. 9 times out of 10, if you don't get the kill, you're dead. You've got shotguns, you got SMGs, you got other sidearms. You've got a lot of things right there in front of you that can kill you, and they can kill you very fast. So the chances of you escaping with To the Pain, if you don't get the kill, are very slim. That's why to me, guys, I just like hipfire more. I want the increase in accuracy, stability, and precision hits right out the gates, and I like shooting from the hip with my sidearm more so than I thought I would. Could you treat this sidearm like a typical sidearm? Could you go To the Pain and kill clip? Hell, even To the Pain and Eye of the Storm? Yes. But I could tell you right now, guys, I did not find that to be the most enjoyable way of using this sidearm. It was the hipfire accuracy that I enjoyed the most. That's not to say I need offhand strike. We can easily do hipfire grip and maybe kill clip or something, or even sword logic. I will say though, it does catch a lot of guardians off guard when you're sitting there mapping them with a sidearm. Overall, if I had to choose my God roll for PvP, I would go Willing Vessel as my origin trait, so I can get those bumps there in stability and handling. I would go hipfire grip and either offhand strike with kill clip or sword logic as my other damage option, with accurized rounds, and potentially hammer forge. And if I can get the adept version, let's slap on an adept mod while we're at it. Keep in mind, hipfire grip maxes out our aim assist. It also greatly boosts our stability. So even if you wanted to say slot in full bore, which I don't necessarily like because full bore hurts both our stability and our handling, I actually think you could get away with it. You could squeeze out just a tiny bit more range. You've got hipfire grip that's making up the difference. Willing Vessel as well that's proccing. I think you get where I'm going with this. That to me, guys, is what I'm looking for PvP. What I will say is that even operating without the 5 out of 5 God roll or even the highest stats, the division has been shredding. The fact that I can go into things like Trials of Osiris and especially comp and do as well as I'm doing on maps that are way too big for a sidearm. This shows just how good of a sidearm this actually is. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.